Hello and welcome to the Everyone Has a Story podcast. Today is a great day. Today is a wonderful day. Why am I so excited about today? Why am I so a little bit more cheerier today than other days, which I know I'm always cheery, but today I just feel even more cheerier. Well, today is World Gratitude Day, and there's nothing I like talking more about into this world, especially the business community, is gratitude, because we always have so much to be grateful for. I remember this time, and this is I probably have 100 stories alone that I could use for Gratitude Day. But today, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite stories. I was 19 years old. It was a summer between my freshman and sophomore year at college. I was playing a lot of tennis. I was on a tennis scholarship, and I took a part-time job at a company that sold forklifts. And they were building a brand new building, so I had to take the truck down, and I had to go to a local lumber yard and pick up some drywall. And on the way back, I'm enjoying life. I'm 19 years old. I can't think of anything more to be grateful for. I'm playing tennis every day. I get my college paid for it, but playing tennis. So I'm feeling really grateful. And about that time, someone in front of me slams on their brake. So I had to slam on my brake. And as you know, when you have a pickup load full of heavy material, the truck goes forward and then it rebounds back. And sure enough, half of that drywall, if not 3/4 of that drywall, started to come off the back end of the truck. Well, when I'm 19 years old, literally, I was probably 5'8", and I probably weighed dripping wet 110 pounds. So it's not like I'm going to just in the middle of this busy road, lift up this drywall and put it all back in the truck. And I'm looking around like, what the heck am I going to do? And all of a sudden, some guy shows up. He's probably 5'2", very, very stocky, very strong building. He had no shirt on. He had denim overalls. He had heavy boots on. And he gets underneath this load of drywall that had halfway out of the truck. He goes, as I lift it up, you push it forward. And I'm going, what? And before you know it, he started bouncing like an ape, and he was bringing this drywall up, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So I was pushing the best I could as he was bouncing, and like within 30 seconds, we had that whole load back on my truck. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what just happened? And I turned around to at least say thank you and shake his hand, and he was gone. I've never seen this guy ever again. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what just happened? Because he showed up out of nowhere himself. He got this whole load of drywall back on the truck, and then I turn around and he's gone. So if there's ever a version of a guardian angel, this guy was my guy. And I hope that when I die and go to heaven, that I'm going to get an opportunity to meet this guy and say thank you, because I have probably told this story, I'll bet you now, 2,000, 10,000 times, who knows? But I've told so many people this story because these are the little things that happen in life that we all need to remember and be grateful for, because we have so many opportunities to just be grateful. And sometimes in our busy, chaotic world, we forget to even think about being grateful. And so today, I have to say, once again, I'm grateful for my guest, because this guy, if there's any guy that can just put a smile on your face and just make you just feel good about just being alive, it's my guest speaker today. So everybody, let me introduce Kevin Monroe. Kevin, thank you for being my guest speaker today.
My pleasure, Roger. I'm excited to be here. And wow, what a story you just shared.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely one of my favorite stories to tell. And I have absolutely no problem telling that story to anybody and everybody, because it's those little things that happen that sometimes we just take for granted, and we don't take the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm grateful for that. And that's what I just love about it. But anyway, everybody, Kevin, this is a great guy. He's a gratitude guide, which we're going to get into that here in a little bit, because I would love to have the title on my shirt sleeve that I'm a gratitude guide. But he's also the host of the Gratitude Encounters. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wrote this down, and I was so excited to put my notes together that I just wanted to get started here. So I apologize for that. But anyway, you're a gratitude guide and you're a host of the Gratitude Encounters. What does that really mean?
What a great question. And Roger, let me explain it like this. First off, thank you for inviting me to the show. And thank you that are listening. You who are listening in this moment. I want to say thank you because, they're now, gosh, like 1.5 million podcasts on the planet that you could be listening to. And for some reason, you've chosen this one. And I want to say thank you and express gratitude to you for listening to us. Roger, gosh, 2.5, 3 years ago, a friend of mine invited me to host a webinar for them, a global group of leaders. And I said, gosh, Tracy, what would you like me to speak on? And she's like, duh, gratitude. And a couple of things happened in that moment. One, I said, I won't do a webinar because I've done a lot of webinars through the years. I did one earlier today, or what people would have called a webinar. Webinars, the typical webinar is a talking head. Let me tell you what I know for 45 minutes. And then at the end of that, we're going to ask, are there any questions? And usually there are no questions because they lost the audience like 42.5 minutes ago. Right. And I said, no, I won't do that, Tracy. She goes, well, but I will do something. And she said, what? I said, I don't know. Let me think about it. And I walk daily. So it was about 8 or 10 days later, I'm on my morning walk, and all of a sudden it hit me, Roger. I was like, gosh, I know what I want to do. And I stop, pull out my phone, hit Evernote, record, and just outline something that I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do was a gratitude encounter, because I realized this, and I think I ended up saying it in that session. Gratitude experienced is better than gratitude explained. And to me, that's what a gratitude guide, that's what it means to be a gratitude guide. And that's what an encounter is about, creating the environment and inviting people into an opportunity to explore, express, and experience gratitude. Because you can sit here and have somebody explain all the wonderful benefits of gratitude to you in a 45-minute webinar, 60-minute webinar. And then at the end of that, you go, gosh, I guess gratitude's a good thing. I should try it sometime. Or you could have an experience. And you might not understand what happened. You might not understand the release of chemicals, and you may not be able to identify the chemicals that were flowing through your body, but you know this, I like that. That felt good. So that's why we call it an encounter. And that's why it's a guide, is I'm just creating the environment, the opportunity, and guiding people in to experience gratitude.
Well, I think we can all feel the enthusiasm right now, so let's just get right to it. What is your definition truly of a gratitude?
Well, so I've used a couple of definitions through the years. And I actually, when you ask me what's my definition, it's one that's been gifted to me by Patty Blackstaff. Patty Blackstaff developed a beautiful journal, sent me a copy of it, and she drew, and on it has this definition: appreciation for all that we have, all that we are, and thankfulness for our ability to show love and kindness to others. So, Roger, when I now think of gratitude, that's how I think of gratitude. Years ago, I had this misinformed or incomplete, let's just say that, incomplete. If you'd asked me what gratitude was some years ago, and I would have said I was a grateful guy, because I rattled through a list of 3 or 4 things. Oh yeah, I'm thankful for, and I could do it in about 7 or 10 seconds. I might have been the world record holder for the fastest expression of gratitude. Oh yeah, I'm grateful for my family, my home, my job. And then might not think about gratitude at all the rest of the day. But if you ask me, were you grateful? Oh, sure. Before my feet hit the floor getting out of bed, I rattled off 3 things I'm grateful for. I'm a grateful fella. Maybe not.
I love that. And there are, and you're going to talk about some stats here in a minute, but there's some great people around this world that are just the epitome of gratefulness. They wake up every day and they just feel blessed. I have a friend who's an all-pro football player for the Dallas Cowboys during the day of the Roger Staubach. His name is
Mm,
Tony Hill, wide receiver, caught a lot of balls from Roger's arm. And every time when I first met him, every time I would meet Tony and I'd ask him, just like two guys always do, how are you today? He'd always say, blessed. I am so grateful to be here talking to you. And I mean, he would say that all the time to everybody. And I'm thinking, okay, here's just one of those guys who's, you know, been so full of stardom that, they just didn't know how to talk to people. But as I got to know him, every time someone would say, hey, Tony, how are you today? He would say, blessed and just grateful to be here and talking to you. And
mm,
all of a sudden, you would see someone in action like you'd never see before. If he was an all pro wide receiver, he was also an all pro, full of gratitude kind of guy. He made everybody
mm.
just feel like they were at that moment in time the most important person on this planet, and especially to Tony. And that, that is such an amazing gift. I mean, just truly a blessed gift. So why is this your passion?
Mm. That's a great question.
I've got 7 more just to let you know,
Okay.
really great questions.
So why am I passionate about gratitude? Because gratitude was my ticket out of a really dark place in life, Roger, to put it succinctly, right? While I would have, if you ask me, I was probably taught at a young age, at least to be thankful, right? I grew up in the southeastern part of the United States of America at a time when good manners were just the norm. And I remember, remember your manners, son. It seems like my mother may have pointed her finger a few times, maybe not, but it felt like that. Remember your manners.
Mhm.
Say please, say thank you. Roger, I remember a time I was 6 years old. My dad cut my brother and my hair every 2 weeks, every other Saturday, sat us down, and just buzzed it back. So I'm this little fuzzy head kid, chubby cheeks. And my parents left me with a neighbor for the very first time. I don't really know why they were gone, but I'm probably 6 years old. And I remember this. My mother saying, remember your manners. So I'm over at the Richardson's house. And at lunch that day, now I grew up in an era where we would have said Mrs. Richardson fixed me lunch. Now she prepared, a sumptuous meal, but handed me a sandwich. And I remember looking up at her and saying, you're welcome. And she rubbed my fuzzy little head and she said, nice try. I think you meant thank you. Right. But I had been taught you should be grateful. Remember your manners. So that's where it started, right? Is that it's just part of good manners. But what if we go deeper than that?
My audience is a business community. And right now, we're just getting off 2.5 years of COVID, where, there's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of people out there shaking their heads, wondering, how they got through it, why they even tried to get through it, you name it. But it's more
Are we
despair
through it?
are we through it? Exactly. And I know that obviously the time with COVID, we saw a lot of unhappiness. We saw deaths that shouldn't have happened. We saw just a lot of things that shouldn't have happened. But the fact of the matter is, it did happen, and we still need to wake up every day with that positive spirit. And I know that that I absolutely am grateful for the last 2.5 years because I got introduced to Zoom.
Mm,
Something as simple as Zoom, because all of a sudden now, literally, I feel like I'm traveling the world,
yeah.
because with the power of Zoom, you can meet face to face, literally face to face, with anybody and everybody from anywhere around the world, as long as they got internet and you have internet. And it's one of the most amazing things that I've ever experienced.
Amazing.
You know,
Amazing.
and I, I just love it because it really has opened the world. I mean, we always thought that the jet engine and the jet airliner was the one that opened up the world to everybody, but nothing to the degree that Zoom is. that what it can do, and to be able to see people's reactions, see their face, and just everything that goes along with a good conversation without just being there and in it with either a handshake or a hug. But, why is having a heart and a mindset of just full gratitude, why is that so important today, do you think, in the business community?
So a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago, so maybe about 90 days ago, I heard myself say this, and you listen, you probably had that experience, especially if you've ever presented, right? And you're in a meeting and you say something and you're kind of like, well, God, I don't recall knowing that. I had not prepared to say that. I'm saying something and you go, I certainly believe that, but I don't know that I knew that. So I've said that gratitude is the gateway to abundance. It opens the door to more of the good things in life. 90 days ago, I heard myself say, gratitude is an essential skill for the world and the world of work emerging now and next, Roger. And I was like, as I heard that, I'm thinking, yeah, I believe that, right? Part of whatever the great R, whatever word you put, you use to complete the R, the great resignation, the great realignment, the great reawakening, whatever that is. One of the things, I mean, millions of employees today, millions of employees are at work or on their way home from work or going to work wondering, do I matter? Does anybody even notice my contribution? Does anybody care? And if I didn't show up today, if I didn't come back tomorrow, how quickly would they replace me? And I was looking for a statistic here, a recent one I found. 66% of workers globally, 66% of workers have not received any kind of feedback in the last 90 to 365 days, or if ever. So 2/3 of our workforce is wondering, am I making a contribution that matters? They don't hear good job. They don't hear, wow, you made a valuable contribution to our effort. And so they're just wondering. And we wonder, you see the Gallup surveys of how many disengaged workers there are. And my friend Gary Ridge, who just stepped down after 30 years at the WD-40, CEO of WD-40, he's pretty clear. The only reason we have disengaged workers is we have disengaged bosses and leaders in the organization, right? They're not engaging their people. So it's not up to your people to be engaged. It's up to you, if you're a leader, to engage your people. And nothing engages people more than, wow, Roger, I saw what you just did in that situation. That was a really tough client call. You nailed it. I saw that. I heard it, whatever. You leave out of there walking on cloud nine. Why? Because somebody appreciated you.
Exactly. And it's such an amazing thing, especially when you're talking about leadership. As you know, I just had to bury my niece,
Mm,
34 years old, and I was given the 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 opportunity to be the one to give her eulogy.
mm, mm,
And as I finished that eulogy, obviously my heart is heavy, but I'm thinking about all the other owners and leaders out there, as just as you said, they have lost great employees, great people, great individuals, because they never took the time to just acknowledge something that they did in a grateful way. And I'm thinking to myself, how many people have passed away too early
mm,
and never got to hear those words just in life, let
mm,
alone their professional life. And I remember one time I took over, I was given the opportunity to manage uh, a health club and tennis club with this company I worked for, and it was my first chance to really show them my ability to lead. And at this particular place, Kevin, it was a health club and tennis club. So water is essential because when you work out, you need to drink a lot of water. Our water in that place was the worst tasting water you would ever drink. You couldn't even stand the smell of it. We tried filters, we tried everything possible, and we could not get the tap water to even look good. And so we would always offer complimentary coffee to all the morning people that came and worked out, and no one ever drank the coffee because they couldn't stand the taste of the water. So after about 2 years of trying, all of a sudden, member after member would stick their head in my office and say, "Oh my God, Roger, thank you so much for your improved coffee. It's the best tasting coffee ever." And I'm looking at them like, I didn't do anything. I did not do a darn thing. So maybe just out of the blue, we got tapped into a better tasting water. I don't know. But it was like day after day, week after week, I was getting just compliments and accolades from the members about how good my coffee was. And so since I'm not in charge of the coffee, I went up to the front desk manager. I said, "What are we doing with the coffee? Or what do we do with the coffee? Because I'm getting compliments where I used to get almost taken back behind the woodshed because of the taste of our water." She goes, "I don't know, but I've heard some compliments too." And so after researching, we found out that this new young lady that we hired to open up the club every morning, she always wanted a cup of coffee, but she couldn't stand it either. So she brought a jar of cinnamon, and she'd put in the grounds to help take the bitterness away.
Wow.
Well, all of a sudden now I am the hero and I didn't do a darn thing. So I wanted to thank her. So I called up my immediate supervisor. I said, "We need to do something because all of a sudden now I have a membership that at least in the morning, they are so thankful what this girl did all on her own. She was not asked to do it. She did it on her own. We're grateful for her." He goes, "What do you want to do?" And I go, "Well, she makes minimum wage. I'd like to offer some money just to say thank you." And he goes, "I'll do that. How much you think?" And I go, "I'd like to give her $50." He goes, "Oh, no way." I go, "Bill, you're not here on a daily basis. You can't understand the magnitude of how happy she's made so many people." So he goes, "Well, if you want to pay her 50, go ahead. But if corporate comes down on you, it's on you, not me." And I said, "You know what? I'll take all the credit in the world for giving her $50." So the word got, we gave her the $50. The word got out to all the employees that, you know what, if you step up above, you're going to be rewarded. So all of a sudden now, it was like a race to the finish line with every employee wanting to deliver even better service because they saw what happened to this one young lady. And all of a sudden now, the corporate this was before really emails had come around. Corporate was getting phone call after phone call from our members saying, "What's happening at Four Lakes? This is the best place ever. Every employee is making us feel like we are the king and queen of Siam." I mean, they were just being treated like that. So now all of a sudden, my stock in the company rose because I was grateful for one young lady for putting cinnamon in the grounds of coffee, and that just turned the whole environment at that club around.
All right, so Roger, there's so much right there that's rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Research shows this. Studies have shown this, that gratitude affects 3 groups of people. The person that expresses gratitude receives a benefit. And so you received a benefit for expressing gratitude. This young woman received $50, which was an amazing amount of money at that time, right? For the general manager to be really stressing that you want to give them $50.
Yep.
And a third party, anybody that witnesses, or in this case, just hears about the effects of gratitude. When you see a leader in a company expressing gratitude, what happened at your organization is what happens. Oh, leaders here are grateful people. And if I step up and show that kind of initiative, it too will be appreciated and rewarded. This is the ripple effect. And this is what people don't get. It's like, wow, And research has actually shown that if you write a thank you note, you can write a thank you note. If you have a deceased relative that you've not had the opportunity yet to convey that thanks, write them a note. You have a lift from writing a note that never gets sent. Wow, the power of gratitude.
So why is leaders today, or not more leaders, why are they not following that just that idea of just sharing gratitude, being
Well,
open
okay,
to show
so
humanness?
let me, I think they are, Roger. Let me give you another stat that I found a couple of weeks ago doing some research for a project we were doing in the UK. 80% of managers think they do a good job expressing appreciation and recognizing employees. This one survey, a global survey, 80% of the managers think we're doing man, we got this. Now, maybe they see how much money is spent on employee recognition. They see a line item in the budget. We spend a lot of money. We invest a lot of money in employee recognition and, rewards. That same study, guess what percent of employees felt properly recognized by those said managers? The 80% of managers that said we're doing well, same study, only 40% of employees felt adequately recognized. Talk about a gap, right? So there's this misconception, but that same gap is applied around the world. How many of you listening are an above average driver, right? They're really bad drivers on the highway. You encounter them every time you're out there. But when you're asked, you're an above average driver. Did you know that 93% of the world's population are above average drivers by self-reporting? Something's wrong here. There's a lot of bad drivers in the world, but I'm a good one. So I don't know, but there's this disconnect. So part of it is maybe not understanding what appreciation really looks like, right? There's a difference between appreciation and recognition. The fact that we have annual performance reviews and again, I'm quoting my friend Gary Ridge. He goes, whoever came up with the idea that we want excellence to be distributed on the bell-shaped curve, because we can, we have to distribute our employees. We have to, everybody can't be top performers. He goes, why not? Do we want to reward average performers in our company? I want a company of all top performers. Get rid of the bell-shaped curve. Let's have everybody be a high achiever, because that would be a good thing. But, whatever the thinking is, I don't know, but I know it doesn't happen. We did something, we collected this data just last week, Roger, just a week ago today, as a matter of fact. We asked people to share their best experiences being appreciated. And what were you appreciated and recognized for? And usually that is achievement, attainment, attendance. I just now realized 3 A's: achievement, attainment, attendance. Then we ask, list an attribute or character trait you would like to be acknowledged for having. Now, this is a business audience. This was a meeting hosted by Oracle. Here's the list. And this was a word cloud. We've got you say some people are seeing this on screen. Well, no, I don't have permission to share screen. I was going to say I can put this on the screen. Number one, compassion. Compassion, the number one thing people want to be recognized for. Compassion. Number two, empathy, commitment, loyalty, consideration, determination, caring, positive outlook, kindness. And so there's a person that looks at this in the meeting and goes, wow, the most frequent responses were all words of kindness and compassion. And where is that being recognized in the workplace today? Not enough, not enough. I'm not saying it's not anywhere, because I know there's some places that are, but imagine if peer-to-peer recognition is celebrating people for you caring. And the number one measure of employee engagement is discretionary effort. I was trying to think, what's the formal term? Discretionary effort. The people that will go above and beyond, the people that will do more than expected, the people that will go, well, that's not my project, Roger, but you look like you're struggling. You need to, I'll stay after work today to help you. That's discretionary effort. You cannot train for discretionary effort. It's like Bob Chapman, CEO of Barry Waymiller, said, and he was saying this with somewhat regret because he became an enlightened leader some years down his journey. He said, we've paid people for years in a factory. We've paid people for years for their hands. Wow, we could have had their heads and their hearts if we'd only known how to ask.
So let's talk for a minute. Just what are the real tangible benefits from showing gratitude to your employees, to your key staff, to your customers? What are some of those tangible benefits that you have seen to really make someone say, you know what, I'm a business guy, I understand the ROI. Maybe I should invest a little bit more in showing gratitude and acknowledging gratitude.
So here are the things. Employees stay longer, less turnover, less voluntary turnover. The statistic for every 1%, and this came from a company, I don't have the permission to name them, but I would tell you, if I could name them, everybody listening would know this company because they're one of the biggest companies in the world. They said for every 1 point that we can lift an employee's feeling appreciated, and I zeroed in when they said feeling appreciated. Feeling appreciated. For every 1 point we bump in them feeling appreciated, there is a 4.5% decrease in voluntary separation. So if you want people to stay around, appreciate your people, express your gratitude, express appreciation. People will, what we just talked about, they will give discretionary effort. People will go above and beyond. People will do more. People will, there's fewer sick days, right? Or I'm not saying people aren't real. Well, there is an increased benefit of wellness, but a lot of sick days aren't really sick days. It's just, I'm sick and tired of this place day. I don't want to show up here today, right? Do I feel that bad? No, but I don't feel good enough to go and take that abuse today. So I'm just going to call in sick. So people, there are fewer absenteeisms. The other one, wow, people tell their friends this is a great place to work, which man, you're getting me to try to think of some terms I haven't. There is a phrase in the experience. There's one number, but it's how likely are you to recommend working here to other people? That is a key metric. And if your employees are happy, guess what? When they're at barbecues on the weekend, when they're at picnics, or when they're at soccer games, football games, and they're talking about work, they're talking about this place, and their friends are going, any openings there? Any openings there? I want to go work there. I want to work for somewhere I'm appreciated. My friend Rich Sheridan, CEO of Menlo Innovations in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They host tours in their company all the time, and they have received some of their best employees because people on the tour say, I want my son or daughter to work at a company like this. Do you have any openings? And they refer their children to go work at a company like that. Why? Because it's a great place to work, because they feel appreciated, they feel valued. So they're just numerous benefits, and they really are tangible benefits. You can quantify these, and it adds to your bottom line.
I absolutely love it. So now I know over the course of the last 21 days leading up to today, World Gratitude Day, that you have put together a very unique, fun event. What's the last 21 days look like?
So we had this idea, and it was a colleague, a team member from Venezuela. She just asked this question innocently. There are 21 days in September leading up to World Gratitude Day. What could we do? And Roger, that was an invitation, and we started talking. And just 15 minutes later, we had the idea. You know what? We're going to host 21 days, 21 ways of growing gratitude. Now, this is work we've done the last 2 years and 3 years, 2 years on this one platform. So we knew what we could do, but we pulled together this 21 days, 21 ways of growing gratitude. And then our question was, how much gratitude can we grow and show? How many people can we involve? And when we do things like this, there's not a dime spent on advertising. It's all word of mouth. It's all invitation, because I know you could get way better numbers than we got by running some Facebook ads and spending money. We don't spend a dime on that. It's all organic. When we opened the program, we'd recruited from people we knew. We had 105 people from 13 countries. When we did the Ripple Report for day 20, we had 761 people from 52 countries, and these people had contributed, as of yesterday, it's now more, but it was 22,005 gratitude expressions. And now that doesn't even count the ripples. So yesterday we sent out an email to people that had joined. I just said, hey, if you got a thought, share it. The first person to respond, this is what I got back, Roger. And this came just about 25 hours ago from when we're here. In response to your email, I've been struggling emotionally, unable to sleep, and candidly, I've not been able to put my finger on the reasons for my sadness and feeling of depression. So the long and short of it, I ran into 21 ways of growing gratitude through a LinkedIn post. The post was from Chester Elton, a friend of mine, posted last Friday. For a couple of days now, I have started my morning and evening gratitude process, adding meditation and support. What I am seeing and feeling is a gentler and softer way through this gratitude practice. I will continue to utilize this tool in my daily walk. Why? I feel lighter, happier, and more serene than I have in a long, long time. Until the next time, blessings. Roger, I read that. I'm going to tell you the truth. That arrived, and I had one of my collaborators, Joseph, on a Zoom, just like you and I. I said, oh my gosh, Joseph, I got to read this to you. I read it to Joseph, and Joseph holds up his arm to the screen. He said, you see the goosebumps? I had tears in my eyes. And we said to one another, true. This is how corny Kevin is, right? I mean, I can be as corny as it gets. If that's the only positive outcome of this 21 days, it's worth it, right? If what happened for this one person is the only positive outcome, and it's not, but it would be worth it. It's so just seeing people. And we had a celebration session today as part of World Gratitude. We had 2 hours of gratitude live. And you were talking about people earlier. We had people from the UK. We had people from the Philippines. We had people from the US, Canada. There were some South American countries represented. But we didn't ask. I'm just trying to place where people were. People from around the world. Many of them I never met before we hosted this 21 days. And they're just sharing how gratitude has elevated their perspective, how gratitude has improved their outlook, how gratitude has allowed them to, well, one lady said, I feel renewed. I feel renewed. I'd lost faith in humanity over the period of the pandemic, right? Just lost so much faith. I am renewed. So every day what we did, we shared one way. And we invited people, hey, you want to try this today? Here's one way to grow gratitude, to show gratitude. So these were things like get out into nature, experience nature, and talk about what you see, what you smell, what you feel in nature. Another one was expressing gratitude to someone from another generation. Go intergenerational with your gratitude. If thank a grandparent or thank a grandchild, or thank your child, or thank somebody that you encounter in the workplace that's of a different generation. Express gratitude. Random acts of kindness. Be kind to someone today, and direct your gratitude through kindness. I mean, there were all kinds of these. And every day we just had people share what was happening. And it's just such, and I realized something today when we did this, and I knew this community would grow. I've been hosting these programs for 2 years on this one app. And we've never had one flagged comment. We've never had one comment from somebody that was inappropriate, from somebody that was abusive that we needed to take down. Well, I said to our attorney, a friend, hey, can you help us write a policy? Because I think with this one, the way this gets bigger and the way we open the door, we may really need to have a pretty good policy that we can point people to, because we may have to boot somebody out. Roger, 762 people from 52 countries, 23,000 plus today, gratitude actions. And I realized today, not one flagged comment, not one inappropriate, not one. It's like, wow. How is it that you open the door and you just invite people in, and we attract remarkable people? We attract big-hearted people. We attract people who are kind, who are generous, people who believe the best in humanity, believe the best for humanity, people that come to elevate, celebrate, and encourage others. There was no belittling. It's like, wow. What the worst thing I thought could happen never even came close.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me, and doesn't surprise me that your community would pretty much vet the people who are joining that type of a challenge. And you know what? Just things like gratitude, just the word gratitude, just puts a different beat to your heart. And I that doesn't surprise me at all that you don't get those type of responses.
Mm.
Kevin, I thank you for our friendship, but more importantly, thank you for being with us today to really share on World Gratitude Day you and what you do and what you mean to the world, and helping get just a better community out there all the way around. So thank you. And please leave us with one more little bit of inspiration that we can all walk away with.
Okay, so, something we didn't talk about, and that's okay. But if you're wondering, how could I invite more gratitude into my life today? They've talked about gratitude. What could I do to feel a little more grateful? We have a simple, and I didn't develop this academically, Roger. This came, like I said earlier, hearing myself answer questions weeks, months after months. Like, well, Kevin, how do I grow gratitude? Roger, it comes down to three simple things, and we put it in as a triangle. We call it the gratitude advantage framework. Pause, notice, express. If you want to grow more gratitude, invite more gratitude into your life, it starts by pausing. We live in a fast-paced, hectic world. We're overstimulated by screens and things screaming for our attention all the time. But what if you find some periods throughout your day, the quiet time in the morning before it gets crazy, somewhere at during your day when you're by yourself, even if it's on the way or at the bathroom, you have a few moments, pause. And when you pause, what do? You notice something good, something lovely, something amazing about people, some benefit, some kindness that was extended to you. Or you even notice something about yourself. You notice that you were kind to a customer that was abusive to you, that you didn't blow up and throw it back in their face. You were kind to them. Whatever it is, you pause, you notice, and then you just take a moment and you express that. Whether you just say, wow, thank you, whether you write a note, whether you send someone a text, whether you write a card to express that gratitude. But if you want to grow gratitude, these three little things: pause, notice, express. And as you do that, gratitude will grow.
Great closing advice. And we should do another podcast just on those three components and really how to really do that. Because sometimes it sounds very easy to do, but sometimes we can find a way in our, like you said, busy, chaotic world to not be able to fully have that roadmap to do just those three simple things. Kevin, I can't thank you enough. How can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out and be part of your gratitude community?
So if you're on LinkedIn, look me up. I'm Kevin Monroe on LinkedIn. And Roger, I do something. +1 404 713 0713. That's my personal cell number. That's not a Google number that dumps you somewhere. That's my personal cell number. Text, call me, WhatsApp me. I'll respond.
I know you will, 'cause you always have with me. Kevin, thank you. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed today.
Oh, thank you, Roger. And again, thank you that are listening, because you're the reason we do this. Thank you for
Absolutely.
listening. Thank you for sharing your day with us and allowing us to be part of your day. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you, Kevin. My podcast wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for my sponsors and my great supporters. So let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of them. First of all, I want to thank Rebecca at Custom Bookkeeping and Accounting, delivering trustworthy bookkeeping services since 2003. Dave and Dara at Virtues Matter, making this world a much happier place to be with their Virtues card apps, coaching, and workshops. Stephen at Buller Accounting, giving business owners depth and insight to their numbers. Eric and his team at Ivy Cat Web Design, the real superheroes of web development and design. Jennifer and Jean at the Seavers Real Estate Team, serving Pierce and Kitsap counties with their home buying and selling needs. Maury at the Maury Method, the world's only brainwave entrainment engineer, helping everyone have more clarity, less stress, and overall better brain health. Priya at Pivot My Profit, helping individuals and businesses have better control of their finances and more money at the end of their day. Melissa at the Soul Vibe Energy High, the queen of the aha moments, helping individuals find those holes in their cups, repair the hole, and gain back their positive energy. And finally, Rick at West Sound Recording. You talk, they do all the rest. Thank you, Rick, for all your efforts with the production and editing of my podcast.